Wells Fargo's Aaron Rakers joins us now. Yeah, Aaron, what's the takeaway? I mean, the big number, obviously, $100 billion, maybe going as much as $500 billion, even though there are some questions about who has the money and how, over what period of time it'll be spent.
Yeah, I think the takeaway here is that we've got another, leg to this AI narrative that's going to continue around, not just the semiconductor names, but also the infrastructure plays. So as you mentioned, our favorite names here, high bandwidth memory. We saw Hynix report last night. I think it was a 350+% growth in their high bandwidth memory revenue this last quarter. Micron plays in that same theme. And then I think increasingly what we're looking at is that these aren't singular data centers anymore. You're connecting multiple data centers together. So this interconnectivity, I think, is a good play for somebody like a Marvell. And then, as you pointed out, we do like Arista on the back-end fabric side, the networking side of this. These are big numbers. We think this drives another leg of the narrative to this AI investment cycle thesis.
Yeah, so you're not doubting at all whether again, you can just look at the hyperscalers in terms of their CapEx plans this year, and I assume back into enormous numbers for any number of the beneficiaries when these things get built. How long do you see this cycle going?
Yeah, so we see a very good setup for 2025, and we think there's, as we go through this year, there's visibility into next year. I mean, again, having Hynix report last night, they had alluded to the fact that they'd start to give visibility on how their high bandwidth memory business looks into 2026 by the mid part of this year. So we think that, this investment cycle has legs this year and into 26, and we'll debate on what 27 looks like as we move forward. But definitely, I think we want to also not just play NVIDIA, but the people that play into NVIDIA around this connectivity and the memory side.
Yeah, the name's Coherent's getting a lot of attention. Ciena, you mentioned Arista. But do you think we would start to get early clues about the impact in Q2 results, let's say?
Yeah, I think the indicators will be there. I mean, these are long cycle products, right? These GPUs take a long time to build and produce. High bandwidth memory takes up 3x more wafer starts than traditional DRAM on the memory side. So we think there's definitely visibility involved here as we move through the first half of the year and into the back part of 2026. We think we start to build that visibility beyond just the back half of the calendar year.
When people talk about friction on this effort, we mentioned the financing, but the other thing that got attention yesterday was the permitting and whether or not expedited permitting would allow this to happen faster than the market thinks. Which do you think we should be paying more attention to?
Yeah, I definitely think, the permitting is important, but I think the power availability. So one of the things that I think is important to note here is that there's clear, indications that they've already started on this project, right? There's 2 data centers being built in Abilene, Texas. That was announced actually late last year. So we're already down this path. I think there's been articles actually as of even this morning talking about 2 gigawatts of capacity from an electric perspective, power perspective already to this data center site in Abilene. So, think about it this way. You've got, 2 data centers. That's basically 8 buildings, 100,000 plus square foot in size. 10 data centers obviously would be 40 buildings, and you got to connect these things together. So permitting, power availability, all those things are something that we want to keep an eye on.